Hello, and welcome to the Balls Out podcast. And once again, joined by Mark. How are you, mate? You good?
Yeah, all good, mate. A bit hot and bothered, but apart from that, ready to crack on with a slightly different show tonight.
Yeah. We're bringing you something a little bit special tonight. So we normally bring you Red Devils roundups and talk us the league and all that sort of stuff. So this is a bit of a Red Devils roundup, a little bit of a special. So we're going to be talking. We're not going to bore you too much. We just want to get our views and opinions across on the most recent ticket price hikes at Old Trafford. And from our research and our looking into it and our opinions, we may have some slightly controversial opinions and facts on it. But, the whole point of this channel is that everyone has their say. We've done our research, we've looked into it, and we're just gonna run through what we've discovered, and we're just gonna talk about it. First of all, Mark, so before we start bringing in articles and all that sort of thing, so when you heard about most recently, I think it was about a couple of weeks ago now, they were bringing out these more ticket price hikes. What was your initial reaction?
Well, let's be honest, I was in total disbelief because the way it was reported was all tickets. I think last year it was announced all tickets were going to £66, and because they'd been frozen for so long, and I had said it made sense. This is what a lot of clubs do. But to then 50% on top of that, I thought Ratcliffe's lost the plot. Like I know he's having a hard time, but I think he was about to come through a breakdown.
Yeah.
So as you said, we've got a few articles and that to bring into it. But after a bit of research, he's not as deluded as we thought. It's more in my eyes, and we'll see what the viewers think. But it's how it's been reported, and that's the problem we've got.
Yeah. So let's bring you. I'm going to bring up how the BBC Sport is how they reported it. So let's give it a bit more of a bigger screen. As you can see, mainly I'll do the headline first. Ticket prices increases absolutely outrageous. And as you can see, Chris Rumford from Manchester United Supporters Trust has slammed eye-watering increases in ticket prices for next season. United have announced matchday tickets prices could reach £97 as part of their new ticket pricing strategy, following the club's worst domestic campaign since 1974. The most expensive matchday tickets last season was £66. Well, we'll come on to that later on, but there are now 4 categories under the new system, with the lowest reserved exclusively for some cup games. It means that the lowest price ticket for a Premier League game is £37, and that figure rises to £97 for the highest category A, which involves games against Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool, Manchester City, Newcastle and Tottenham. And club officials argue that £97 applies to less than 1%. So we're talking about, like we say, the case of the way it's being reported. The initial headline is absolutely outrageous and slamming eye-watering ticket prices.
Yeah.
I mean, we've known for so many years that there is an agenda against Manchester United in the media because United sell papers, United sell headlines.
Yeah.
Do we expect anything less at this point, even after a terrible campaign last year?
Well, what was it? Liverpool won the league and City had everything going on, and Man United was still the top 5 stories on that day. So it's always going to be the thing. No one wants Man United to become the force they were. So the more mud we throw, hopefully more sticks. That's the media's way of looking at Manchester United. We brought it on ourselves, but let's see what.
Yeah, brought it on ourselves through success, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
So from what we gather, it's what we've actually, here we go. So there's more in here. So this is Run Fit from the Manchester United Supporters Trust. Worse than anyone's worst expectations. And when they said they were going to introduce this model, the suggestion was that some tickets would stay the price, some may even be a bit cheaper. and a small number of the games, the biggest games, might be more expensive. What we've actually discovered, it relates. The price increases relate to 17 of the 19 Premier League games next season, and those games' ticket prices are going up typically by 50%. The average price is going up 50%. Yeah, it's just extraordinary. Lost for words. We knew this model was coming, but it's really the scale of it. Number of games are being premium priced and the extent of that pricing. There are a lot of terms of clubs and cuts, blah, 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 blah. So I want to bring this bit into more of an attention. So here we go. This particular part here. So as you can see there, it means the lowest price ticket for a Premier League game is £37 for the two Category C, which is Sunderland and Wolves. And
Yeah.
then that figure rises to £97. Now, and it says underneath there, club officials argue that £97 only applies to less than 1%. So that means obviously whatever tickets are left after corporate and what's the word, season ticket have taken their
Quality
seat.
season tickets, yeah, all
Yeah,
the
so
corporate.
there's less than 1% available at £97.
Yeah, which is
What?
a bad thing in itself. Saying that if I wanted to pay £97, actually I can't even get decent seats.
Mm,
Um, the 1% pisses me off. So
yeah,
it's two games, Sunderland and Wolves, and it's only home games. Bear in mind. So we
yeah,
play 19 games a season. So two out of that, that's around 10% of our home game. Yeah, so are going to be reduced, which are meant to be these 37, and the 97. Well, surely the 97 is City, Liverpool, people like that. Yeah, top five,
hmm
top six games.
yeah,
So if you work on say 6 games, that's 30% of our matches.
yeah,
But only 1% is going to be at £97. That's because the other ones are potentially going to be £2,000 hospitality seats and everything they're changing, kicking people out behind the dugouts. That's a
yeah,
that's a totally different agenda. But that's probably where you're looking at your £97 seats. Because at the moment, unless the people come forward and say anywhere else where they've had their seats taken and they know for a fact the price is going up, which hasn't happened, we only know people have been moved out from behind the dugouts. We don't know what those seats are going to be sold for until,
no,
unfortunately, until the first game of the season and people get those revenues, and they start talking to the fans sitting next to them.
yeah.
But
And when you're sort of seeing it on, like, I know very little of the games end up going to general sale. It's normally
yeah,
it will go season tickets, members, and then by the time you get down to general sale, there's nothing left. So
I know enough season ticket holders, and I can no longer take their ticket off of them because of the way Man United have protected it
yeah,
themselves. Right. So you used to be a member, transfer it, and I just pay the face value of the ticket. Now they have to resell it back to the club. So £37 ticket. We'll say it's that one ticket. They'll stick a zero on the end of that to sell it on.
mm,
On average, they will stick a zero on the end. They would 10x the ticket and sell it to someone over trying their luck at 9 o'clock on the day who just wanted to see if they could get a ticket to the game, and
yeah,
they pay it, and that's your tourists, um, and it's disgusting. So that's one thing that they're doing. So, but if we focus more on this area, the 1% of games,
yeah,
unless it's up in the rafters, your top of the highest stand, that's where your £37 should be, right?
yeah.
In theory, that's where you
Nosebleeds.
should be. I went to United Brighton the end of last season, so not the season we just had, the season before, last time
Hmm.
Brighton's home game, and I was literally one row off the top in the Brighton stand, in the south stand. Well, it's not the south stand, but it's the one that faces south. Just don't even ask.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Right, but that was £55 plus that was plus my booking fee,
Okay.
and that's the top of the stand, and that was what, one, two, three tiers up, and it's a nosebleed seat. Yeah,
And to Brighton, that would be a category A match
It's
as
a
well, wouldn't
category
it?
A game, yeah, absolutely. But it's a standard
Yeah,
transfer ticket price. I could have been, I would be paying the same money if I went and watched who Worthing v Brighton in the FA Cup, which is my local side. Yeah, if they
yeah,
got into the third round, I'd be paying the same money for FA Cup against a nobody on a
mm,
Wednesday night. You know,
yeah,
that kind of game. Now that's good business sense. Do you not think? People know what they got. That's the price. The price is on the ticket. That's what you're going to pay if you're buying a hat ticket as a non-season ticket holder. Yeah.
yeah,
So I've never had a problem with the price increase. I understand how and why, and there's a lot more for these articles, and it's happening more and more now. Aren't saying.
yeah.
And
It's really. Find it really difficult to defend uh, Ineos and Ratcliffe for increasing the prices because nobody wants to be priced out of football, but it is unfortunately it is the way football is going, and there's nothing we can do about it. It's not the beautiful game. It really is just money spinning, and that's all it is. It's cash cowing. You know, you just got to look at preseason tours and all that sort of thing. They'll do anything to get a quick few million. You know, you look at the postseason 2 games in Middle East, wherever it was, Asia,
yeah, for
and
for
yeah,
see 8, 10
they're
mil.
gonna they're gonna try anything. Yeah, they're gonna try anything to get whatever money they can. I find it difficult to appreciate, not appreciate. What's the word? To understand why you would be, how you can charge that much for a stadium that is crumbling. It's outdated. It's really struggling. And you're telling, and Jim Ratcliffe did the interview wherever it was, February, saying that we've got next to no cash. So we're having to lay a load of people off, and then we're going to up the ticket prices because we're going to be out of money by November.
Hmm. And then we weren't, and now then we're spending money in the transfer market.
Yeah, yeah.
So I
Which
want to
I
wind.
get it.
Yeah, go on. You get it.
No, go on,
But
you go.
no, I was going to say. So I wanted to wind the clock back to when I was a little kid. And do you remember Cantona scoring against Liverpool, FA Cup final, Wembley, old Wembley?
1996. Yeah,
Yeah. My ticket
year I was born.
was right near the top, partially probably obscured, £60 a ticket in
Mm,
'96. £60 for an FA Cup final ticket, right? Not great
mm,
seats. But then I paid the same the next time we were there was obviously '97, and I'm on the halfway line, not even one tier up. Same price. So it's a flat line fee, yeah. So this has been
yeah,
done for years. That's still very expensive in the '90s. Yeah, 60 quid for, but it was the FA Cup final. Now it's
yeah,
been said for a long, long time. Coming to Old Trafford to play Manchester United is most clubs' FA Cup final. I think we can all agree with that.
yeah.
Yeah, up until our
I
performance
would
this
say
year,
so.
we've normally defended that. It's very hard to get a win at Old Trafford. Um,
It's
so
especially for newly promoted sides as well. They're probably newly promoted sides that haven't had the opportunity to play at Old Trafford, or fans that haven't been able to travel to Old Trafford. They're looking
absolutely,
at those games thinking, right, because everyone knows that the away stands they sell out immediately at Old Trafford. Like, whether it's a League Cup, FA Cup, whatever it is, they
yeah, and
sell out
we
because
give the
people
highest
want to go
amount.
to Old Trafford.
We give the highest amount of away fans to come to us because we have the biggest capacity.
Yeah, yeah,
You know, the only one that beat us was obviously Tottenham when they were playing at Wembley. So,
yeah,
um, so £60 then in the '90s for an FA Cup ticket, and we've had our prices frozen for pretty much since then up until last year. Yeah,
yeah.
I'd like to use an analogy about that, and it's probably quite apparent in most of
Cool.
our lives as humans at the moment. If you always went to the corner shop and bought your loaf of bread, your beans, and that because it's dirt cheap, instead of going to the supermarket, right? And it say it
Yeah,
was you do your shop at a local convenience store, which most people do around Europe, and it was 50 quid for a £100 shop. And yet, times get harder, that shop goes bust. And you have now to go and pay the same price as everyone else in the country at a supermarket. Man United have
Yeah.
technically done that with their tickets. We have frozen our prices for so long with the biggest capacity and lost out on so much revenue. When we would, well, we still sell out now, but you work out how much
Yeah.
money we lost as a club, and we're going on about debt. Now, at no point am I saying our debt is any on us. It's the Glazers. It's all on the Glazers, and we need them out of our club. But when you're talking about
Agreed.
servicing the debt, I can wholeheartedly see why they went. Why are we paying 30 quid a ticket when we could be paying 60? Charging, sorry. Yeah. Yes, of course. I've been getting away with it. You know, if I can't afford it, I can't go. But that's
Yeah.
football. That happens to so many football fans. As they get older, maybe they get on their pension and can't afford a season ticket. So they no longer go. So they
Yeah.
become an armchair fan and get called not a real fan. But they used to go to all the games, but now they can't afford it.
Yeah.
This £97, we've got to go full circle back to it, is not, we are not, and the £97 is still not the highest in the league for
No.
category A
I think
game.
that probably. Yeah. So I think that brings us perfectly. So that's the article, and that's pretty much the same sort of way that all the news outlets are reporting this, as Man United are the enemies of this. This is what Mark found online. I'm going to bring it up bigger.
That's what she said.
And this is ticket prices from last year. This is ticket prices, what was it, 24-25 season? This is, isn't it?
It's 24-25. So you can see that if anyone knows, Fulham opened a new stadium, new tier,
Yeah.
and the season ticket, I think, is £3,000 a season ticket. So
Most
this is what
expensive season ticket in Europe. Yeah.
yeah, and this is what's pushed their highest ticket up. Now we are technically in the most expensive part of the country. You know, Fulham and Chelsea should have the highest ticket prices. So you can see right at the very top, 160 for their Category A match. Okay, followed Arsenal 141. You know, Arsenal 30 quid for the cheapest, 141 for the highest. 85 is the average. So that means they sell more above the average than they do for 30 quid. Yeah, because it's not in the middle. Average. Bear in mind, you average your cost out. If you're selling for £30 a ticket, God knows what they can actually see from those seats. They are always going to be nosebleed seats. Okay.
Yeah.
So you work your way through. You start looking at our highest. Aston Villa, 92.
£92, yeah.
What do we all know about Aston Villa this right now at the moment? Why are we being linked with Emi Martinez? They have to sell to break even. Yeah, it's all about PSR, whatever you want to refer to it as. Brighton, £78 average. So you can see I'm bang on with what I said. The average price, £55. That's plus the booking fee.
Yeah.
That
Yeah, yeah.
literally is what I pay. But still, Category A prices go up. Now, I'm going to bring it down to Man United at the bottom. So we're just below mid-table, a bit like our league position. But we're £66 across the board.
Yeah.
And this is the bit I can't defend because that means we have no children's prices. According to
Yeah.
this article, all seats sold at one price. For every game, it's the same price, no matter where you go. So in theory, if you want to be a financial person and not have a heart and only see numbers, we're losing out on a hell of a lot of revenue if Fulham can charge over £150 a ticket for their Category A
Yeah.
games.
Yeah.
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 So we could almost double our income still. So even if we go up to £97, you would still have 4 teams above us without increasing their.
Fulham, Arsenal, Tottenham, West Ham, and then you're looking
Straight
at
away, you go
Villa.
London.
This is last season, so Villa are going up.
Yeah.
I don't know if Villa's tickets are going up.
Tottenham
Chelsea,
are going up.
yeah,
Arsenal
Tottenham's will
will
go up
always go
because of
up.
Champions League.
Yeah. Because of the football, and that's where the category A also comes in. If you remember, there was a big article done on the price of a ticket for Champions League games for Aston Villa. It was 90 something pound. That's where that 92
Yeah,
for the highest is. Okay. We're not in Europe. So that's where we can't defend the club for that
no,
increase. But we also have to remember how much money are we going to lose by not being in Europe? Okay.
yeah, true.
So the lowest, you won't be surprised, £32 for Ipswich, average of 40, highest £48. Bournemouth down there because they don't have the fans. And funny enough, Everton, £55 across the board.
Mm.
So they're the
So
ticket
no
price.
concessions at Everton either.
Yeah.
So it's really, from what we're gathering, it really is. We're not sitting here defending Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos, but there is an element of you have to look at the bigger picture and look at the fact that yes, we are charging, not us, Ineos are charging £97 for Category A matches, and according to them, there are only 6 Category A matches next season,
Yeah.
which are whatever ones we said they were.
Well, they'd be we
We
know
are
who the
miss,
top 6 are.
yeah, we're missing out on European football. We're missing out, so we've only really got able to sell tickets because, like we've said, Premier League matches very rarely get to general sale. It's normally League Cup and FA Cup,
Yeah.
and they're normally midweek, so they don't normally get sold. But like I say, we're not sitting here defending Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos, but you do have to look at the bigger picture and look at actually maybe we are Manchester United. We are one of the biggest clubs in the world, arguably in the world. Only charging 97 quid. I say only, but in comparison to what we're looking at, charging 97 quid for 6 matches at the entire season, I
So there is a
can't
downside.
really argue.
Yeah. So as
Go
you
on.
just said, we are not in Europe. That £97, if we were in Europe, would be 6 home games in the league, minimum
Yeah.
4 home games in the Champions League or Europa League because of how that works, and then you go on. So
Hmm.
yes, if we were still in Europe and we were doing well, we'd be having more games at that value, right? But if we were doing well, how many people would complain? We would still complain about the increase in the cost, but the complaints would come probably with more of a caveat of, look, I know we're doing well, but can you not lower the price a little? Yeah, probably could
Yeah.
look at that because we then haven't
I
had
think,
5% decrease in sponsorship money from Adidas.
mhm,
We have not lost out, and this will bring me on to something else. We have not lost out on a European training kit that I'm wearing right now from last season. This will not exist this
yeah,
season. It will just still be 2
thank
colorways,
God.
one for the coaches, one for the team, because you don't need a European one.
Mm,
Which will decrease in sales of a third kit because the home and away are generated by the clubs which come up. So you only need two colorways. A third kit tends to get worn in Europe. And that brings me on to kits. Right? And I'd just like to
yeah.
touch briefly there on the cost of kits. So we can sort of lose this and come back to just us. Man United get put out for they rip people off for the cost of their kit. Man United are also kit is made by Adidas. Arsenal's is the same price. Man United, I believe Liverpool's is going to be the same prices as ours now. Bear in mind they're just swapping to Adidas at the end of July. officially. And the average cost of an adult shirt was £80 last season. But you could, and only a few clubs do this, buy an authentic kit. So the same the players wear, where the badge is printed on rather than stitched on, a stitch-on badge. It's printed into the material. It's £110
Yeah.
per shirt. And the only clubs that did that, Arsenal 110, Aston Villa's was 115, Crystal Palace, believe it or not, at 70, Liverpool's was 115, us and City at 110, Tottenham 125 because they are big spenders, and Wolves at 115. Most clubs don't sell that shirt, so that's more money that we can generate because of where we're at, and people tend to follow.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're being shit, you sell less shirts. I don't think the Man United shirt's gonna fly off the rails this year. With also the increase in replica shirts as well, so they're losing sales there. So,
Yeah, because nobody wants to give the money to Ineos and the Glazers. They're going out and buying
well, that is probably the
knockoffs.
most misconstrued thing on selling a shirt. So I quite like my finances, and I like breaking it down for the fans. If a shirt is sold at £80, this is currently how it
Yeah.
breaks down. So I looked into it. The retailer of the shop gets £26.40 out of the 80. Okay. The
Okay.
manufacturer gets £23.47. VAT's £13.33. Distribution £1.60. Cost to make. How much do you think it costs to make the Man United shirt that's sold for £80? Go on, though. Have a guess.
£4.80.
Oh, so close. £8. So it's a 10x on
£8
cost.
a
It's a
month.
10 times 10 markup to the actual price that it's sold at. Marketing,
And
they only
that's
pay
just, so this
£2.40.
is last season, yeah?
This is last season's kit. Do you know Man United
Okay.
make £4.80 out of a shirt sale? So out of £80,
Oh, so I was
they
right
only
on
get
my
£4.80.
£4.80, but
Yeah. So what's the cost on that for this season? It's a new one, isn't it?
so this is the new season shirt. This is 85 just for a standard home shirt.
So it's £5 more expensive
And
than
then
last
you,
year.
yeah.
£5 more
And then this
expensive.
is
So
the one that
United
we
will
were
make
talking
£5.
about that we were,
Well, sorry, we froze up a little bit there on my screen.
and that's a,
Yeah, United will make £5.20 off of that shirt for £85 sale
yeah.
for what they have to pay back to
And the
everyone else.
121?
The 121,
I
they
don't
will.
understand this though.
What that?
I don't
What
understand
part?
this.
What? Why we sell it for 120?
Well, so you've got you said about they printed the badges slightly differently
Yeah,
and
so
all that
Adidas
sort
is
of
what
rubbish, and they're expecting people to,
because that's what the players wear on the pitch.
yeah,
So the replica shirt is a
yeah,
replica. This is the authentic shirt that is worn by the player. But if they chuck your shirt, you know it's different. And it is. It is. Everything is like a heat print on. So it's just everything to make it lighter rather than. So like my stripes are printed straight on, but my badge is stitched in. Yeah. But on if this
yeah.
was a shirt, this would be heat printed on, and that's heat printed on. Same as the sponsor. There isn't much difference.
So £148 to have Bruno Fernandes on the back and the Premier League badge
Yeah.
on the
And if you work on a 10x thing of what it said cost to make from last season, £8 sold for 80, £14 to make it, sold for 148.
148 quid. Yeah.
United will I then probably take £7 out of that. £7, £8.
It's the price of football, I'm afraid, everyone. We would love everyone to get in touch with their views. Let us know what you think. Do you agree with us? Do you disagree? Please just let us know. We do not take anything personally. We love hearing everyone's views and opinions.
Yeah.
Why have I come up?
So
And
just
yeah,
like, subscribe, and whack it in the comments. Come back to us, and we can address it on later videos. I'll always reply to the comments as well. And yeah, just give us your
yeah,
hot take.
absolutely.
But there
Yeah,
are more hidden
absolutely.
costs in football from people from journalists want to let you know, because if they gave
Yeah.
you all the hidden costs, it wouldn't be much of a story, would it? So
No, absolutely, yeah. So yeah, keep an eye out on our socials. You can find us on Twitter. You can find us on here, and yeah, we hope you've enjoyed, and we'll speak to you very soon.